Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Spirit Side Podcast. I'm Paul James Caiden, and today we are going to lighten things up a bit on the podcast. We've been talking about some heavy topics here. We've been delving into the paranormal with jinn and skinwalkers and ghosts and monsters and manifestations of the mind. On Monday, we talked about the agenda, and it's been a lot of weightier topics, and a number of people had actually emailed me or commented on the YouTube video version of the podcast, just to say thank you for covering these kind of topics like the agenda, but not doing so in a fearful way, as they put it. Thank you for not pushing, trying to sell the fear porn, as they call it in this day and age. And I appreciate that. I appreciate when people comment or email, because it lets me know that I'm doing a decent job in getting positive and informative podcasts and videos out there in a way that is balanced. It's not pushing the fear. It's not trying to get people all riled up, or riled up because I have an agenda, because I'm selling prepper materials, and hey, if you want to get the best, buy it from me or buy it from that company and I get a kickback. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. People have to make a living at what they love, but when you have an agenda just to play on people's fears of what could happen or fears of the future, yeah, that's not a good thing. And I certainly never want to be one of those voices that, sound the alarm, getting people, afraid, to walk outside their own front door. I think for me, when I talk about these subjects, I do feel calm. I do feel, for the most part, peaceful when I see these things happening or when I talk about them. I mean, occasionally, yes, do I get riled up? Do I get riled up sometimes on the podcast when I talk about these things and I'm watching these very stupid or terrible things that people are doing? And, if you listen to the podcast long enough, sometimes I'll get frustrated with that type of thing. And man, a few curse words might slip out because, it's just so frustrating to watch. But for the most part, I'm calm about it, and I'm not afraid of what's going to happen. And even if something bad were to happen, it may not be physically comfortable for me, depending on what that bad thing was. There's no food, I'm starving, I'm hungry, as some say, maybe the lights go out, there's no heat, I'm cold in the winter, I got to find a way to keep warm. Yeah, those things might be physically uncomfortable, but I would still maintain my spiritual foundation. And that spiritual foundation just gives me a lot of peace. It makes me feel very grounded. It makes me understand that no matter what happens to this physical representation of me that exists right now, that spiritual, that eternal part of me is going on forever. It's going to the next stage of life, the next world, whatever that may be, that we call heaven or the spirit world. And I have confidence in that, a lot of confidence in that, because I've done a lot of research, a lot of study. I'm absolutely convinced that there's something beyond this life. if you do any studies at all with near-death experience and what some of the doctors and scientists have said about it and the people that experienced it and how far this goes back, ancient times people experienced, pretty much the same thing. So it really does kind of bolster your confidence and your faith to say, yeah, there's something beyond this. So I'm not afraid and petrified, that something bad is going to happen and take me out of this earthly game. I'm not. It's not something that I have an absolute dread of. Even though the means, admittedly, as I said, depending, that might take me out of the game. Just to put it bluntly, it could really suck, but still, I'm going to have that confidence, that there's something more, there's something better. So I don't let these things get me all shaken up and out of kilter. And one of the things I want to share with you today in this podcast is hopefully something that you will start to do. And just feel the confidence and the calmness that this exercise brings you. And what we're going to talk about today is something that's called receiving angel thoughts. And anybody can do this. You don't have to do mental gymnastics or go through all kind of spiritual rigors. It's a very simple thing to do. In fact, when you do this, you're not forcing anything or willing anything to happen or doing anything. You're simply asking and then just being open to receive. And this is something that you could do in meditation if you wanted to. Or, this is something you can do any time of the day. You could do it at work. You could do it at home. You could do it while you're driving down the road. Anywhere, anytime, you can ask for and receive angel thoughts. So there's no special level of consciousness or altered consciousness that you need to enter into to do this. And I think you'll be very surprised at what you will receive when you do this little exercise. I want to start out first by saying this is a metaphysical exercise. And when I say metaphysics, I'm not just talking about, ghosts and goblins and paranormal. I'm talking about the power of mind, the power of spirit, the power of God, who in metaphysics we say is the ultimate infinite divine mind, which all things emanate from, all things are expressions of, and in whom we all live, move, and have our being. It was actually Mary Baker Eddy that defined angels in her book, Science and Health with Key to the Scriptures, which a lot of people later borrowed from in other metaphysical works because it was such a profound, I feel, definition of angels. And that definition was as follows. She said, angels are God's thoughts passing to man, spiritual intuitions, pure and perfect, the inspiration of goodness, purity, and immortality. No matter what their physical form may be. So angels in metaphysics, and many call them angel thoughts, because the word angel simply means messenger or a message. And so an angel thought is God passing his ideas to us that contain a message, and that it may come to us in our thoughts and our intuition. And there are times that those angel thoughts can take on a physical form that we can see. Much like the person who, and I just heard this story, I was watching a metaphysical lecture on YouTube the other day, and it was actually a Christian Science lecture, and the lady who was giving the lecture was talking about one of her friends who had the experience of driving down the road, came to a crossroads, was about to, cross, but somehow just find at the stop sign, he couldn't take his foot off the brake and put it on the gas. And he heard a very clear voice say to him, "Don't go." And he said that voice was an angel thought. It manifested in the form of a voice that just said, "Don't go." And as he froze for a moment and just couldn't seem to take his foot off the brake and put it on the gas pedal to go through the stop sign, this big truck just went roaring past, and it definitely would have hit the side of his car, and he may not have been with us today. There was another story that she told about one of the places just years back that had a tsunami. And another friend of hers was in a cafe with her niece and her sister. And when the tsunami hit, it just came through the window. I mean, the wave, there was furniture everywhere. I mean, people were being swept away. She was swept away. She tried to hold on to her niece, but, she couldn't, and this woman couldn't swim. And she was underwater. And the first thing she heard, because she thought, what am I, I'm going to die. I can't swim. And a voice told her, pedal, because this woman was a bicyclist. She traveled all over the place on a bicycle. I guess she rode professionally in some bicycle racing. But the voice said, pedal. And she began to pedal her feet like she was on a bicycle, and was able to, get herself above the water where she could hang on to something near the ceiling until the waters subsided. After the water subsided, she thought for sure her niece was gone, that she had perished, when this wave, this tsunami had hit. But later, when the water subsided, there were the survivors. She saw both her niece and her sister. And the niece told her that she was underwater and there was a circle of light that formed around her and carried her under the water, underneath a tree limb where her mother was. And her mother saw her under the water, reached down, grabbed her, pulled her out up into the tree limb, and they both survived. And they both said the voice that said pedal and the manifestation of the light that carried the niece underneath the tree limb where the mother saw her and got her out of the water, these were angels or angel thoughts. Now, angel thoughts can be quite spectacular in that way, but they can also be very everyday. Like you may be getting ready to go to a party and a voice just says to you, don't go. Cancel. Stay home. Don't go to this party. and you heed that voice. There's just such a feeling, and you say, man, I don't know what that is. I think I'm going to stay home. And then you find out this party was a disaster somehow, or something bad happened. Well, that was an angel thought telling you, don't go to that party. It could be something very simple like call your brother, call your neighbor. And you just feel compelled to call that person. And you find out at that moment they actually needed you to call for some reason. They were having a crisis, or maybe they were ill, or they had an accident and they needed help. So angel thoughts come in a variety of ways, and they can also come to us because in metaphysical healing, they can come to us as healing thoughts to help us heal mentally, physically, and even spiritually. So we can ask for angel thoughts to come to us and give us advice, like an old friend. But now, how do we do this? How do we get into the habit of hearing angel thoughts or asking for an angel thought when we really need it, or recognizing what they are? Well, let's go back to that definition that was in Mary Baker Eddy's book. The angels are God's thoughts passing to man, spiritual intuitions, pure and perfect, the inspiration of goodness, purity, and immortality, counteracting all evil, sensuality, and immorality. So angel thoughts, we can recognize them as spiritual intuitions. Don't go to the party. And there's just that feeling. Even if it's just for a few seconds, that feeling that says, man, maybe I shouldn't go to that party. But, as most people, and we all do this, we usually blow by our intuitions. That's stupid. Why would I not go to the party? And then after the fact, we say, gee, I knew it. I should have listened to that little voice. So spiritual intuitions are a big way that angel thoughts come to us. So when you hear those little warnings, you get those little feelings, it would do us all well to heed those messages. Because angel thoughts are not rude, they are not aggressive, they are not going to make us do anything. They are the messenger of love, and they simply bring the message, don't go to the party, don't go to work today, call your friend. But they also inspire us with thoughts of pureness and goodness. So we may have a thought to bless somebody in some way. I really see my next door neighbor struggling when he or she brings groceries home. Maybe they're elderly, and it seems like they have a hard time carrying their groceries up their front steps. And you see them one day, and you just get that inspiration of goodness. Go help them. Go talk to your neighbor. You never talked to him before. Go help and just, be neighborly. And then you find out, again, maybe this person really needs some help with something with their health or housework, or they don't have any family or anybody to help them with certain tasks. So angel thoughts inspire us to do good for other people as well. But now, how do we receive angel thoughts? It's actually very, very simple, and this may surprise you. Just ask. Let's just say, for example, there is someone who's having problems in a relationship and they're struggling. Should I stay in this relationship? Should I leave this relationship? I don't really know what to do. I love the person, but they're being very toxic or maybe abusive. They're doing something that's endangering themselves and others, or making life very heavy and causing the person depression. Well, you could ask for angel thoughts for that, and you would simply sit down, as an example, and just say, "Dear God, I ask you now to send me your angels. Send me an angel thought about this situation and show me what I should do. What is the best decision I can make? Should I leave? Should I stay? Is there something else I need to do? Please send me an angel thought to guide me." And from there, you don't force anything. You simply just wait. And you will notice something will come to your mind. It could be it's not something that you're making up. You're not engaging your imagination or willing something to happen or telling yourself something that you think you want to hear. You're just waiting with an open mind. Dear God, send me an angel thought. What should I do about this situation? And then just wait. We all have that experience where thoughts just come to us. You might be praying, you might be meditating, or you might be thinking about something, and suddenly the thought just comes to you. We've all had that. I was walking down, I was out today, I was shopping, and I wasn't really thinking about the relationship, or I was thinking about the relationship with whoever, and all of a sudden this thought just came to me. It just came to me. That is the angel thought. It's those thoughts that just come to you, inspire you, intuition, or some people call it that quick little download, zap. There it is. Those are the angel thoughts, the thoughts that just come to you. And they could be very simple. Again, going back to the person having a relationship issue, it could simply be hearing the word, leave, or you need to leave. And it will sound like the voice of a friend or someone who really cares if they were telling you, you need to leave. It may be something longer than that. You may hear the voice in your mind, the thought just come to you, leave. And then the intuition. You just know. Or you start having other thoughts that kind of start dawning on you at that moment. Like, yeah, it is better off actually if I leave, because if I don't, A, B, C, and D is going to happen, and this is going to be bad. These are the angel thoughts. These are the inspirations. And they always come. They always come. They could be in the form of some people who read the Bible a lot and are familiar with biblical verses. Many times an angel thought can come in the form of a scripture. There may be something that they're afraid of or afraid to face, and they ask for an angel thought. And that scripture would just come to them. We have not been given a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. And it will just come to them. And the person may think about that for a minute. They might look it up or look it up on their phone and just read that verse and contemplate that for a minute. And then suddenly something just strikes them in such a way that, oh, they're not so afraid anymore. There's suddenly a feeling of calm about whatever it is they're facing or that they need to do. These are angel thoughts. This is how they work. It could be a word, it could be a sentence, it could be a line from a book or a movie or a song. Anything that's pertaining to that situation that you're asking for the angel thought for. When it just comes to you, that is the angel thought. When the thought comes to you and you feel that intuition, that deep intuition, like, yeah, I know that's what I need to do. I just have that feeling, I know this is what I need to do. That voice was right. Well, that is an angel thought with a spiritual intuition. Or if it's inspiring you to help somebody, you'll have the thought and then feel inspired. You'll feel joy and love. Yes, I really need to help that person. I'm going to help that person. I am happy to help that person or to call that person. Whatever the angel thought is inspiring me and asking me to do. So it's really very simple, and a lot of people who practice metaphysics and metaphysical healing will also ask for angel thoughts when it comes to healing. If they're treating themselves metaphysically or someone else who may be, facing an illness, they will ask, what do I need? Dear God, send me an angel thought. What do I need to know that could help this person recover? And again, it could be a variety of things. It could be a Bible verse that will help raise the person's consciousness who is sick, getting them out of fear, getting them out of feeling depressed, feeling joy, feeling the love of God, and that has an effect on the body that helps propel them into healing. So there's any reason or any problem that you could think of in the human condition, you can ask for an angel thought. I mean, a lot of times when I get up in the morning, especially in the fall, I love this time of year. I get up, I hop in the shower. Once I'm out of the shower, I come into the bedroom, and I usually have the blinds open, and the sun is just beginning to rise over the horizon, and the sky is red, but it's still kind of that dusk outside. You can see the leaves on the trees starting to change. The crickets are still singing. I find that so peaceful, and I just like to go to the window and say, well, I say good morning to God, and then, what should I think about today? Send me an angel thought. What's my theme for today? What should I think about? And something will always come to me. It'll just come to me. And it's usually pertinent. It's usually pretty cool, and it kind of sets the tone of my day. What I think about, how I react to certain things that may happen in the day. So I find it a great way just to start the day, getting inspiration from God and from the angels. I mean, really, in metaphysics, God is your best friend. Angel thoughts are your best friends. You can talk to them just as you would a trusted family member or friend. You could be sitting out somewhere by yourself in the park, or hiking in nature, or hanging out in your living room, or driving home from work, or driving to work. And just ask for angel thoughts. Hey, here's something I've been thinking about. Hey, God, what do you think about this? Send me an angel thought. Get an inspiration. There's any and every reason to get an inspiration that way is a good thing. Don't ever be afraid to use it or think you're asking, foolish questions. No, we are one with God. We are expressions of God In him we live and move and have our being. And so to interact with eternity, with spirit, with God in that way, it's our spiritual birthright. So don't ever think you're abusing the privilege of, asking for angel thoughts or inspiration for anything. And when you do this enough and those thoughts come to you and those thoughts are right and you get good advice and you start listening to those little maybe intuitive warnings that tell you, don't do that, don't trust that person, and you find out that that's right, that starts building confidence and peace. That's when you really know, hey man, somebody's got my back. Somebody's looking out for me because, now I'm starting to recognize the angel thoughts coming when I'm not even asking for them. Like the lady in the tsunami, she wasn't asking for any particular angel thoughts submerged in water. It just came to her. But you know what? As a metaphysician, as a Christian scientist, she made a daily effort to receive those angel thoughts into her life. And the more you do it, the more you'll receive, and the more you're apt to receive those thoughts and inspirations right at a moment when you really need them, but don't really have the time to ask. And again, that builds faith, that builds confidence, and that's when you can really start looking at the world around you and going, you know what? Yeah, it gets annoying. Yeah, the world's in a pitiful state. But I know I'm okay. Somebody's got my back. Somebody's been looking out for me, and I know they'll continue to look out for me. No matter what, everything's going to be okay. And you can and you will reach that point in your own spiritual development where you do feel that way. And you are more relaxed. You are more calm. You're not so worried about all this nonsense that's in the news and everybody's in an uproar about. You're just kind of on the outside looking in going, man, I wish those people would get some angel thoughts so that they wouldn't be so, up in arms about all this nonsense that in the big eternal scheme of things doesn't even matter. It doesn't even really matter. So folks, I hope you got something out of this today. I hope you'll practice receiving angel thoughts. Make it a practice in your life. It's very easy. It's not, like I said, it's not hard. It's not something you got to do mental gymnastics to do. You just do it anytime, anywhere, and you'll be surprised what you will receive, what thoughts will just come to you. So, drop me a line, email me, or comment on the podcast or the video if you're watching this on YouTube, and let me know in the future. Send me an email. My emails are always in the description of the podcast, wherever it is, and let me know. Let me know what kind of angel thoughts you've received and if they've been helpful, and how this practice has helped or blessed you in your life. And before I end the podcast today, I've had a number of people now. I'm going to give you my sales pitch. No, I'm only kidding. I've had several people email me and say they wanted to support the podcast. They wanted to support my work, and I appreciate that, and I would like to be able to dedicate more time to the work that I feel is important in this day and age. So, if you are so inclined, if you're one of those people that want to support the podcast, you can support through Anchor. There is a thing where you can support the podcast, sign up to be a supporter on Anchor. I now have I've had a Patreon page, but I've never done anything with it. But I have it now. It only has 2 tiers. It's $1 and $5. For $1, I now have, which the link for this will be below as well, for Patreon, and also for my new Angel Thoughts webpage. Now, this is something I just opened up on Blogspot. I wasn't going to go through all these rigors, for a website. I said, I had this before for readings, and people found it. It worked just as well as, having a website. But the new Angel Thoughts site is up, where I offer spiritual counseling, angel readings, metaphysical healing. That link for the Angel Thoughts page will be below. And if you sign up on Patreon, if you sign up for the $1 or more, the benefit is, and this is a lifetime benefit, you will get any spiritual or metaphysical service on the Angel Thoughts page for only $10. If you sign up under the $5 or more, you get every service on the Angel Thought page for only $5. And again, that's a lifetime benefit. Anytime you wanted a reading, spiritual counseling, just somebody to talk to put things in a spiritual perspective, it's only $5. So those are the benefits that I came up with. And also for people to be able to suggest podcast topics that they want to listen to. And I'm going to start putting little exclusive videos and podcasts on Patreon for those who want to sign up. So I figured I would do that. It seems like everybody's doing it. So I said, hey, yeah, you know what? If it's something that allows me to put a little more time into this work that I really enjoy doing and helping people, that's great. So, I figured I'd put it out there. So the links to Patreon and the Angel Thoughts page, again, will be below in the description for those of you who are interested. And with all of that being said, again, I hope you got something out of the podcast today. I hope you try this Angel Thoughts exercise and that it brings a lot of peace into your life. I'm Paul James Caiden. I'll see you next time here on the Spirit Side. Until then, peace and blessings to all.